I don't know why I couldn't change this name, so I'm actually going to create a different application. I just really don't want to waste any time. Let me just create another application, new project, okay? New project, Java application, next, and I'll just name it week 10, and this will be demo A1. This is sample 1. Finish. Okay. So finish that and simply. Oh, you know what? Once again, I'm making. Maybe I'm making a mistake here that I want to refactor this. Refactor and rename this class to be a swing main. Okay, so that worked. So I apologize for that. I just created a class named swing main as opposed to just some default main class. More on that later, because as soon as we begin to use graphical user interface designer, it would be probably not a good idea to create the main class to begin with after all. So I'm just going to do my usual adjustments here so that we have more space to look at the code. And so just as promised, we go here and we take this portion of the sample. I'm just going to copy and paste this in. So I'm just going to keep the package name. Everything else beyond this point, I'm just replacing it with the code from that sample. And I'm going to save this. And I'm also going to run this, okay? Just right away, just try to see if it works. So it creates a frame with a certain title, with the standard buttons, and it contains this hello, okay? Hello, which is, if I close this, right? If I close and exit from this application, which doesn't shut itself down properly just yet because it's too simple, but if I go back to the code, you can see that what I'm doing here is that ignore this portion for now. We're about to have a big discussion about this portion of the code, but here where I say create and show GUI, what I do is that I create new JFrame, then I create, then I basically set the dimensions for this, and then I create a button, and I say that the caption for my button should be hello, which we already saw. And then I say frame, which is the frame object represents the entire window in our application. And I say get content pane right there. So it returns back a reference to the container, which I can populate with my gadgets. And so I just basically say add a button to that content of my frame, and then eventually you have to set it visible, because normally you construct your windows while they're invisible so that you're not really doing any overhead related to the window construction. So once the window is constructed and ready to go, then you make it visible. So let me run this again, and you will see that this entire area here is my button. See how I'm clicking on it and the whole area responds? So the default layout of this frame is such that essentially whatever controls I create will stretch over and occupy the rest of this space. So that's the default layout type, and it's probably not a very effective. So let's do some very simple experimentation. Just remember that you have to, since this window doesn't automatically exit from doesn't automatically exit the application, you need to physically just remove it, just stop running it by using the X button down here and just say exit the application. So now let me create a few buttons here. No, instead of one button, I'll just create the second button as well, name 2, and I'll say hello world. Hello world. and exclamation point, and then I will use frame get content pane add button and button 2, right? So now I have 2 buttons added to this frame, and I'll save it and I'll run it now. Okay, and so this time there was no magic. Basically, the first button is now completely covered by the second button, and so this arrangement isn't very effective, and you can see that it's okay to present one single gadget, but you still need more work in order to position controls properly and make them make them visible, and also note that the button which is on top of another button also automatically resizes when I resize the window. All right, so that is done automatically. So not very useful, but good enough for a quick demo that demonstrates that it's really not very difficult to construct such window and make it display a simple gadget, okay, and be able to resize itself. Yes, question?
Will this be a sample that we can use?
Would this be a sample that we can use? Absolutely, yes. And this sample is available on the sample page. For example, when you scroll up on our home page, there is a link to CIS 257 Java samples. If you click on this link, and if you scroll down here, you'll see that right about here, like midway through the set of samples, there's swing demo A1, A2, A3, and so forth. We're going to execute all of them sequentially, and every time. So you already have access to the source code directly from the samples page. All you need to do is to create a new Java project, download those files, and compile, and it should all work. Right. The only thing to remember that they're kind of using this silly package name named PCKG for the lack of the better name, but so you either want to update this package name if you want to keep your own name, or create a package with this silly name. That's the only thing that you need to do, right? Other than that, you can just create a package, create your project, and right-click the download button and just say save link as, and save it into your source directory and under your package name, and it should all be pretty much runnable. Okay, so this is our first demo, and we have run it more or less successfully, but we haven't discussed this portion just yet, right? So let's move on to the next sample.